Hey, morning. Late start this morning. Okay. Sheikh Daga. Okay. Okay. We're moving on to the level of Kabbalah of Maidani as Chassidus energizes it. I will tell you that the Kabbalah level of Maidani is actually, as the way Chassidus is going to explain it, is related to the way Chassidus energized the level of Remez within Maidani. That just like Hashem returns our soul to us in the morning, to our body, which sleep is 1/60 of the death, so too Hashem will, this hints to the idea that Hashem will return souls to dead bodies, the resurrection of the dead. It's going to be related to that somewhat. Okay, so section 15. Al derech zeh hu gam bechelek hasoid shebemaydani. Similarly, is regarding the layer, the portion of soid, of Kabbalah, of Maidani. Okay? Now, if you forgot what the Kabbalah level of Maidani was, the Rebbe will remind us. Hapirush shebe Kabbalah shemelech chai v'kayim hu sfiras hamalchus k'moishe miyuchedes im sfiras hayesoid. Kabbalah says that, Maidani lefanecha, I thank you, melech chai v'kayim, the living and eternal king, right? That you return my soul. Living and eternal king is referring to the level of the sphera of malchus, of kingship, that's melech, king, as it is united with the level of Yesod, which is the level above malchus, if we translate it as foundation. So melech chai v'kayim is the way malchus is united with the sphera that is above it, which is the sphera of Yesod. Okay? We added that it is from this level that the returning of the soul comes from. So the soul returns to the body in the morning from the level of melech chai v'kayim, which is the level of malchus, as it is united with the level of Yesod. That's where the soul returning comes from. So hine neisef lezeh shechassidus meva'eres umasbira oisei bibiyurim v'hesbedim sichlim. In addition to this, the Chassidus explains such topics with intellectual, logical explanations. Like we said in the beginning of the Sikha, that all matters of Kabbalah, that their explanation within the realm of intellect is through Chassidus specifically. You look in Kabbalah itself, it's not a logical wisdom, I guess you could say, if that makes it the right way to say it. So besides for that, in addition to this, through the explanation of Chassidus, the inner theme, inner content of this explanation is felt. And the topic at hand, as it is explained in Kabbalah, lives in a completely different manner. Okay? So again, the returning of the soul in the morning happens from the level of melech chai v'kayim, which is malchus, as is united with the sphera of Yesod, which is above it. What will Chassidus do to this? So bir Peter zeh al pi Chassidus. The explanation of this layer of Kabbalah, according to Chassidus, is not just helping us understand but give us a clear definition of what Malchus and Yesod is, or not definition, a clear explanation of what Malchus and Yesod is, but also to give it life. You'll see. Sfiras HaMalchus hi bechinas ho'elikus hashayeches lo'elam. What is the sphera of Malchus? Malchus is a level of godliness which is connected with worldliness. Malchus is the level of godliness which is connected with an existence. It's as godliness comes down to create a world. Being that this is a level of godliness which descends to have a relationship, a connection with, and create a world. Therefore, from it is drawn the definitions, the boundaries of time and space. Time and space come from the level of Malchus, because it is a level of godliness that is related to worldliness. That's Malchus. Usfiras hayesoid. What's the sphere of Yesoid, which is above it? Hi bechinas ha'elikus shelamayla migeda hashaychus lo'elam. In this context, Malchus is the first level, the first sphere that has a connection with worldliness, with an existence which is not Hashem, so to speak. The level above Malchus is still a level of godliness which is higher than any connection with a world. Shalachein, that therefore, bekol hamidos shalamayla misvidas hamalchus, ein shayach behem gedori hamakom v'azman. In all the levels, in all the attributes which are higher than Yesoid, the definitions, the boundaries of time and space do not apply there. In fact, the Rebbe says parenthetically, and when these higher levels are revealed, they're exposed, time and space lose their definition. They lose themselves. They lose their existence because they have no space up there. Now, if Malchus is a level of godliness which is related to worldliness, and Yesoid is a level of godliness which has no relationship with worldliness, what happens when you combine the two? And that's where the soul returning comes from. The Inyan Yichud HaMalchus Ima Yesoidu, and the idea of uniting Malchus with Yesoid is Gilui Oirin Sof Shalamayla Me'olam is Bivchinas O'Alikus HaMislabeshes B'olam. This is a revelation of Hashem's infinite light which transcends worlds within the level of godliness that is enclosed within the world. If I'm not mistaken, this is related to a related concept. We say this every day in davening. In fact, I think most Jews even know the song related to this. Ahoseh Shalom Bimromav. Yeah? We say this at the end of the Amidah. What do those words mean, by the way? Ahoseh Shalom Bimromav. He makes peace in his heights, in his holy heights. Heights. What does that mean? So it's actually, the Talmud explains what this means. You have two types of angels that are complete polar opposites. You have the angel Malach Michal, and you have Malach Gabriel, the angel Michael and the angel Gabriel. And the Talmud says that Michael's like water, and he's the minister of water, and Gabriel's the minister of fire. And Hashem makes peace between them, and they get along. He's fire, he's water, they get along. Makes peace. What it's saying essentially is that there's a level of chesed, of giving, of kindness. There's a level of gvura, of holding back, restriction. And when they're before Hashem, they make peace. They get along, even though they're opposites. And the idea is, for these two things to get along, there needs to be a revelation of godliness which transcends them both equally. And that's Hashem's infinite light, what we call Er Ein Sof. And when this light is revealed, everything is nullified before it. So you have the minister of fire, the minister of water, and they get along. So similar thing here. In order for their unity of two opposites to happen, these are two spheres. One is related to worldliness. One is completely no connection with worldliness. How do these two get along? How do they unite? They unite through revelation of a level which transcends them both. This is what my understanding is. Level of Hashem's infinite light. The Er Ein Sof. Okay. This is why the returning of the soul comes from the level of Melech Chai V'Kayim. Why? We explained earlier regarding the level of the Remez layer of Maidani, that the returning of the soul every morning is a new creation. That's why there's a connection between the Maidani and the resurrection of the dead, because the truth is the soul and body are resurrected. Not resurrected. They're recreated renewed every single moment because they have no existence on their own, and Hashem has to constantly recreate them, just like all of creation. Now, the idea of renewal, of creation, of something from nothing, even though practically the creation of something from nothing comes from the level of malchus, okay? Malchus, which is a level of godliness which has a connection with worldliness. It is from this level that the world is created, because otherwise, if it came from a higher level, it wouldn't work, because there would be a world, but it wouldn't have its own independent existence. It wouldn't feel like an independent existence if the creation came from a level solely which is higher than worldliness. Despite this, although it comes from the level of Malchus, the power, the ability that Malchus has to novelize the creation of something from nothing is specifically from Hashem's infinite light, the essence of His infinite light, which is higher than any sort of connection with worldliness. Automatically, being this power comes from Hashem's essence, who is not defined by nothing or something. Therefore, He's able to take something which is a nothing and make it into a something. It's just that creation comes practically through the level of Malchus, but the ability, the power for it comes from a much higher level. And this does not work regarding the light, which is the godly light, which is connected with worlds. That if creation can't come from Malchus on its own, it can't, because Malchus doesn't have the ability to make a nothing into a something, because it itself is defined by the definitions of nothing and something, by the boundaries of nothing and something. This recognition of Melech Chai V'Kayim, what it truly means, comes to a person from his level of Yechida. It's not from a lower level that a person gets to this recognition. Now we'll see in a second that you can come to such an understanding with your brain, but the recognition, an actual, to get into the whole explanation, the difference between a recognition and an understanding. Understanding is using your brain, recognition is something much deeper. Okay, why? There's two things going on here. That it comes from the level of Yechida. Aleph, one, the recognition, to realize and recognize that the power of creation comes from Hashem's deepest essence, is possible only from the level of the soul which is united with Hashem's essence. Because when the four levels of the soul of Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, and Chaya, their connection to godliness is to the level of godliness within the worlds. And two, Gama mitis ha'akara ba'achidus diyesh me'ayin she'yakev v'lo rak she'yavin she'ein shum nesinas makam layesh mitzad atzmei v'kum b'tziyuzu v'mechudash me'ha'olam me'alakus. Also, the true recognition in the novelization of something from nothing, that one should recognize, not only understand, but one should realize and recognize that there's no room for an existence on its own, and its whole existence is brought into existence from godliness. This recognition comes specifically from the level of Yechida, not from the other four levels of the soul. And it's Galil, so if you Gimel, as we learned in section 13. Okay, Mr. Shem, we're going to tomorrow move into section 16, which is going to connect all four interpretations as Chassidus explains them. Okay, we'll see what happens. We'll be able to after that. Okay, have a great day.